right, guys. Hey, welcome to another episode of Passenger Seat Parlay. So today we have a very special guest. We have a U.S. Army veteran, a venture capitalist, husband and father of two beautiful children.
That's right.
And the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's illegitimate son. Because he low-key looked like The Rock.
Come on, man.
I know you do.
Yeah, a little bit.
I know you heard that before.
I heard it. I wish I heard it more, though, but.
Nah, bro. Legit, he doesn't have any sons, but listen. I'm like, hey, Rock. But Jesse kind of looked like you. Oh, man. How have you been? You look so good.
I've been good. I've just been just enjoying this journey, this life journey,
For real. And definitely watching you from afar. I've seen the journey. I remember when you went off to the Army. First of all, you disappeared senior year.
Oh, that was
Did you transfer out?
How long is this episode? That's a long story.
We could do a back journey.
Okay.
But I remember you going into the Army and doing that thing.
Yep.
And then you just popped up on the gram. Like, you've always been in some type of business. I just remember it's either Army, but you've always been consistent with like cutting hair. I would always see that.
The whole time, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, how was it getting into the Army and then transitioning into barberhood?
So you want the short story?
I want you to give whatever's on your spirit.
Okay, cool. So how I got into the Army, how I even left Florida. So obviously we both know that West Palm Beach is a place where our parents go to start a new life. Mm-hmm. And, it is a good area to live, but it's very, you touched on this in one of your episodes. You talked about like how different it is because you have three different cultures, people from up north, people from the south, and then people that just like, from, the islands that just come up. Yeah, the Caribbean. Yeah. So we all go to school with each other and that's a rough thing, So what ended up happening, my mom, same thing. She moved from Chicago to Jersey, from Jersey down to Florida. And that's how we made our way down there. So what ended up happening was she tried, she tried the best way she could.
Right.
With me and my sister. And long story short, tried the best she could. Single mom, trying to stay above water, tread water in life. And then unfortunately, it didn't work out that well,
Yeah.
So went to school with you in Wellington for a while. We actually grew up for a long time together. Like,
low-key.
Yeah. But everything, how we put that facade on?
Yeah.
Like everything's
your
good.
Armor.
Yeah, we put that armor on and we just kind of go through the motions, go through life and just kind of like, you don't tell anybody what's going on, the real stories and everything. So my mom has just always been trying to figure it out. And, she's raising a little, 16-year-old knucklehead.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The best.
A Taurus at that.
Yeah. So.
Boy, oh boy.
I was not on the best terms. I was not on the best terms with her. Mm-hmm. I kind of, like my grandma's passing, kind of put everything into perspective when I opened up her Bible. In the back of it, she said she wanted to see me graduate. Oh, I wasn't on track to graduate. Mm-hmm. And I actually ended up, once I saw that, like I just did a complete 360. I just was like, that. I was like, I got to change it up. So my mom, she moved me down to Summer Ridge, Loxahatchee. Of course, that's
where you disappeared to.
Yeah, Loxahatchee.
Dang, she took you out to the woods.
I told everybody I hit the lottery. Everybody was like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, I can't just tell you that my mom is just like, hey, we're just going to up and move you. So yeah, I told everybody I hit the lottery, moved to Loxahatchee, which wasn't the truth at all. So we ended up moving to Loxahatchee, went to Sumner Ridge. Got in trouble with Seminole Ridge again because I'm still a knucklehead.
Okay. And, hey, we all know how Seminole Ridge was rolling. Redneck bench just moved to Seminole Ridge.
Yeah. Different blocks. You couldn't go down this alley. I'm like,
oh my gosh, what is this? Segregation?
Yeah, that's how I felt though. And what ended up happening, my mom was like, all right, well, we got to figure something out. So she moved me to my, she was like, hey, just go with your grandpa.
Yeah.
Randomly one day. Didn't even get a chance to say bye to anybody. I was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm moving to Illinois. Nice. And this is middle of nowhere, way out of not even close to Chicago, 2 hours away from Chicago.
The sticks
kind of,
boy.
But here I am. I don't even have a jacket. I've been living in Florida for the past 11 years, 12 years of my life. I come up there and I'm just like, man, everybody's like, who's this kid? So I got a chance to reinvent myself again because everybody's like, who's this kid from Florida? He's got a tan, he's curly hair, Jersey Shore looking kid. You know what I'm saying? Didn't look like nobody there.
Yeah.
So, this was my chance to just get back on track. So I was dealing with like a lot of like, I guess kind of mental health issues at the time, but I didn't really know no better at the time. Mm-hmm. So I just decided, man, I got to get out of here. When everybody was like talking about what are you going to do after high school? And I was like, man, I don't want to be no welder. I don't want to do none of this stuff you guys are talking about. Like, it don't even sound fun. So what I ended up doing, this is the crazy story about the Army. This is how it gets into it. They had this program called the Buddy Program. Me and my best friend at the time, we said, we were going to join the Army together, right?
Okay.
So he's like, yeah, man, this is a good idea. We should get out of here. And they'll send you to your first duty station together, and then you'll be together the whole time. Mm-hmm. So what ends up happening, he fails the test, doesn't tell me, right?
Oh.
So my grandpa's my legal guardian, so he signed over my rights to the Army for me to take the test, and I passed the test. Mm-hmm. So then they're like, hey, pick a job. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm still in high school. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll pick a job. I picked the job. They're like, all right, well, congratulations. I'm like, congratulations what? It's you're leaving. Like 2 weeks after you graduate. I'm like, what do you mean? And I go back and talk to my friend. I'm like, hey, bro, what's up with this? Like, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna retake it. I'm like, oh, you're gonna retake the test? I'm like, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna retake it. 2 weeks after I graduate, they just grabbed me up, stick me in boot camp.
Whoa.
I didn't even have a chance to like say bye to anybody.
Or prepare mentally.
Yeah. It was
gosh.
It was either like go AWOL or just like, they took pretty much ownership of me at that point.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And so my friend, he just kind of just was like, he just forgot about it. He's like,
Wow.
So,
are you still friends with this person?
No.
Okay, yeah. I was about to say, because no, sir.
Yeah. So, I do that thing, go through basic training, the whole nine. First duty station is Korea. I spent a year over there. Then I get sent to the infantry, man. So I go to the infantry for 4 years of my life. And that was just an experience. I was just
what is that? Is that weapons?
Yeah, it's like, combat.
Okay, so you know how to shoot.
Yeah.
Okay, you're part of my apocalyptic team. Yes.
Gotcha.
Because apparently I wouldn't survive the apocalypse.
Who said that?
My boyfriend. And then I asked my brother, and he second that. I was like, I'm very upset. Like next season, I'm in the gym 5 days a week because everyone thinks I'm weak.
Get some jiu-jitsu going.
Yeah.
Some kickboxing.
My hand-eye sucks though. But I do need to learn how to shoot. But I know I could call you in Chicago.
Hey, I'm in Chicago,
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Right. So you were telling me about the Army, and I believe I saw that you used to give cuts when you were there.
Yeah. So it started off, I got a horrible haircut in the Army. And I remember when I was sitting there, I was like, man, I'm paying this guy to shave me bald and leave patches in my head. And like, they're like, the drill sergeants are like, yeah, just pay him. I'm like, what do you mean pay him? I'm like, and tip him. I'm like, for what? He didn't even cut my hair good. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I get to my unit and then I go to the PX. The PX is where you don't want to go for a haircut, right?
Okay, what's the PX?
PX is like a Walmart for like the military. So like it's Walmart cuts for the military, right? So I go in, I get a haircut, and I go to my unit, and it's Monday morning is like in ranks inspection. So you take your hat off and you're sitting there. And then what happens is first sergeant walks down the line. He looks at everybody's haircut, their boots and everything. So he gets to me. He's like, Roberson, what's up with this haircut? I'm like, I got it from the PX first sergeant. He starts yelling at me. He starts cursing me out. And I'm like, in front of everybody, right? And he takes me and my squad leader's like, you need to go take him and get another haircut. So I already got one haircut. So I go back, spend another $15 at the PX.
And they made you pay for it?
And they made me pay for it again. I come back and he's still pissed off about the haircut. So then I go to Sally's and I just go grab some clippers. I'm like, I'm not paying for this again. Yeah. So I just got on YouTube that same day and I was like trying to give myself a little taper and everybody was, oh man, that's a clean haircut. So I started cutting everybody's haircut in the Army. I mean, in the my unit, we went down range. I actually was cutting everybody when we were in Afghanistan.
Okay.
Like, set up a little bench, little makeshift barbershop. Oh, appreciate you. But that's how I got started. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
A bad haircut and now.
A bad haircut, yep. Now it's me.
When did you transition out of the Army?
2020.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, that tracks from what I saw. So immediately after the Army, I saw that you started opening up separate businesses.
Yeah.
I remember sneakers, products. I don't know if you did clothing. I can't remember.
We did, yeah. We did.
But I would always see
we tried it.
Yeah, glimmer of barbering. I need to find the proper term because I feel like barbering is incorrect.
Yeah, just barbering.
Cutting people's hair and stuff.
Hair, yeah.
So now you have your own company. So let's go through background training. Are you pretty much self-taught or did you get licensed?
I went to barber school, yeah.
I decided, how was that like?
It was cool. It was like going to school again for anything, but it's like, honestly, it was a grind because it's like 1,500 hours of doing this consistently. Right. And most people would just be like, nah, I'm just going to cut hair on my own. But I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and do it the right way,
And to get your credentials.
Yeah, get my credentials and everything. So the Army paid for it, luckily. So it was cool, Yeah.
All them sacrifices.
Yeah, right? So.
Okay, so you graduated barber school and then you got a booth in Chicago or?
Yeah, I started working in a little hood Mexican shop.
Okay.
That's where I got my start, but it was a good start for me. That's where I got my grind. I was outside holding up signs and trying to get people to come in for $25 haircuts, you know, and I always had like this, like sometimes you just got to have that, like, you got to have something in the back of your head, like a bigger version of yourself.
Of course.
And I would always tell people, she knows, like I would tell people like I'm gonna be like a luxury barber. I'm gonna be charging like $100, $75.
Yes,
a cut.
speak life into yourself.
Yeah, and everybody's like, nah, you know, they make fun of me, the videos I would post. And like, then one day, somebody big shared one of my videos, and everybody in the shop's like, what's going on?
Yes.
Yeah, so
I'm like trying to think if I remember who that was.
He also went viral too on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, she helped me with that too. Yeah.
Okay.
So
we're going to get into it. If y'all are listening, that is Mel, his second half.
Yes, ma'am.
Tune in for her episode where we go into their business together. But when you had the booth, I do see that now you have your own
suite.
So let's talk about the transition into that.
Okay.
What was your decision into getting into it?
What was my decision? So God, honestly, you know, like I just had that nudge, and I was like, you know, I was sitting there and I'm like, man, how long am I going to do this for other people?
Yeah.
And not do it for myself. You know,
Right.
I have the ambition, I have the drive, I have the means, I have everything.
You're definitely not an employee type of spirit.
Nah,
at
exactly. So that's what I would have battles in my head about. I'm like, am I an employee? Like, am I just sacrificing who I'm called to be somebody else's tool, pretty much?
Got you.
So I got this theory in life that everybody's either a hammer or a nail, you know?
Ooh, yes.
So it's like either you're going to be the hammer that's like, I'm getting stuff done, or you're going to be the nail that gets pounded in. You're just holding up the business. You're doing something to hold up that, you know, that little thing.
I love that. That's a quote for life.
That's what you got to be, you know?
Absolutely.
Hammer and nail. So
let's talk about some barber issues.
Okay.
And I made sure I got a quick little lineup before I came here. I was like, listen, I cannot pull up in the studio with my lineup being off. I'm interested in getting a female barber because like he gave me like this lineup because I love my widow's peak. That's something that y'all barbers, y'all hate a widow's peak.
Yeah.
Y'all just quick to cut it off.
Yeah, the Vegeta.
And I'm like, the Vegeta. And I love Vegeta too. That's my man.
You got to tell him to keep it then.
Okay. And he kept it. You know, I pushed her back because I'm like, because you guys do that corner thing. What is this called? Like when you shape the corner?
When you shape it up? It's just a shape
it's a
up.
shape
Line up, yeah.
Like, I feel when it comes to men, you guys are obviously working on masculine foreheads and pushing the line back and all that jazz. I want to know with you, have you ever had a situation where you have a client come in, they have, the hairline isn't there, baby. It's wrapped around the corner. It's giving Jefferson, you know, because male pattern baldness is a thing.
It is, yep.
How do you resurrect this hairline? When is it time to go bald?
Okay.
Or when can we kind of refigure this hairline into something feasible?
So I have a theory, right? So here's my theory.
Yes.
Right. So unless you're not ready to give it up, you know, there's ways, you know, enhancements and, you know, proper, you know, the right barber for you will help you save your hairline, right? But sometimes you're going to have to like really think about this, like, yo, this might have to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some people don't want to let it go. You know, I don't know why.
Sure.
Me too. I don't want to let it go. Like, you know, that's like a man's hairline is like, that's his confidence too.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't have a beard and he doesn't have a hairline, you look like a
it's like, what
pedophile,
you got going on?
You know, like I don't know. You know, so you look like a creep, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to have them both.
Yeah.
So if you don't have one, you got to have the other. So if you're bald, grow a beard. That's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, what is this? I noticed in like the mid 2010s, like the boys, they've been starting getting some weaves. Like you seen the tape, the toupee.
Yep.
Now let's get like what are they called? The man units.
Man units.
Yeah, I've seen locks. Even there's a high. I'm sure you know the whole Japanese Asian culture.
Oh yeah.
Giving themselves perms for a fade. I'm like, thank you. I know we appreciate y'all too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, my hair is 613, so I'm not going to shade anybody trying to do a hair culture thing. But what do you say when you have a client who has a hairline that is non-existent but wants a toupee? Is that a service that you offer?
I actually do S&P.
What's that?
S&P is scalp micropigmentation. It's like a little tattoo. It's like a tattoo of the hairline. But you know, sometimes like this is a permanent solution. So it's like even like the toupees and all that stuff. It's kind of like you're just hiding the problem. So sometimes if you embrace it, just let it be. You know what I'm saying? Like, but sometimes you might have to be real with somebody and be like, hey man, you know, like I'll just line up the forehead. Like, it'd be an ash line. Like his corners will be back here. And I'm like,
yeah.
I was, yeah, man.
And have you ever had a client who's come in with an impossible hairline? You've resurrected the hairline to your best capability.
Oh, yeah.
But at the end, they weren't happy and they did not want to pay for it?
No, I've never had somebody that didn't want to pay for a lineup or anything. I've had people that didn't want to pay for a haircut in general. Like, they're just trying to finesse me.
Right.
But I've never really messed up anybody's hairline. I just botched somebody. She knows. I botched somebody on accident.
Oh, no.
Sorry, bro. Sorry about that. But yeah,
He's still coming back. He's
yeah,
just
it's
gonna
my
grow
boy.
it out.
It's my boy. I gave him like the next 3 on the house, but he had
There you
some
go.
waves.
Loyalty.
Gapped him.
Oh,
I was
man.
like, dude, I don't even know how it happened.
Yeah.
I was like, you must got some bad juju on you because my guard just flew off on the ground. I was like,
Hey,
and
maybe
he's like,
somebody was trying to protect that crown.
I don't know, man. But yeah, I know you mess up, man. I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
like, I never mess up. Nah,
Yeah.
definitely messed up.
Well, he seems like a very like loyal client. How do
Yeah,
you build up such a great clientele over the years?
Okay, so I read this book called The Go-Giver. You ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
So The Go-Giver basically is like 4 laws of like basically how to find success in any industry through like just like human laws of like basically taking care of people. Your true worth is like determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them.
Amen.
So sometimes you can't really just receive like what you want at that time, but the better your service, the more they'll give you without you even having to ask, you know?
Right.
So sometimes my tickets will be like $130, $140, $150 for just a haircut that I didn't even ask for. But because the service is so good and because I'm giving them more than what they asked for, they come back, they give to you. So The Go-Giver is definitely like one of those books I read, like just 4 laws, quick read. All those points in there will help you in any business. So.
Absolutely. And when you say giving them more, are you a barber who likes to like speak life into their clients?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Do you see all ages? Because I see your chair has like from 4 to like 60.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like as a barber, it's like, you know, there's this saying that says you only tell your barber and your priest like certain things, you know? They see me sometimes, or they see their own family sometimes.
Right.
So we have conversations. I end up becoming like a therapist to them sometimes. Like, hey man, we got this. Like, how do we get to this? How do we get to that? And the good thing about the people I cut, I can connect the dots with certain people. Some people have businesses. I'm like, oh, you need a job? Okay, I got this guy over here. Or
good networking.
you know, so it is a good thing to have. And I love like being there for like kids and just like being like the positive influence sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Now, seeing that you have worked with children clients, like teenagers, I assume as well, I've seen in your chair. Do you notice like a difference between the things that they're going to sitting in your chair as a barber versus when you were sitting in your barber's chair? Like how that dynamic is?
Definitely. So definitely saw that like growing up. Like I remember when I was going through all this stuff in life, you know, I had this one barber and like he kind of knew what I was going through. Yeah. And he kind of like be there and he like, you know, talk to me like, hey man, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Kind of give me some like positive reinforcement, like with whatever was going on. Yeah. And, you know, I wouldn't open up to him completely, but that little shift of a haircut, your confidence and everything is just, you know. Okay. Sounds so boring, but that really helps. I don't know why.
No, it's so true. When my man goes to the barber, he comes back brand new.
Oh, yeah.
Brand new. Yeah. It's like a little bass in his voice. I'm like, okay, you dropped a little octave? Yeah. No, you can't tell him nothing with that fresh cut. And I think it's really great for men to have their own safe space and have like where they could pour into themselves. And I love how, especially you, are making like botanical experiences for men.
Oh yeah,
you know,
definitely.
They like soft shit too. They want a facial. Yeah, they want all that cute stuff.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's I'm just doing what was done before. Yeah. But you don't see anymore. Like the old school barbershops used to get a hair wash, used to have an experience, used to come in there and used to leave a man. You'd put a suit on and you'd be like, oh man, I feel good, you know? Yeah. It was a good thing, you know? Sometime between there, it just became like, I'll just show up and do what I want and blah, 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 you know? And then it's money too. So people just think that like, you know, we're just collecting money for services. Yeah. You know, that's not the case. It's like with anything, it's like I told her this, like, think about it like this. You got McDonald's and you got Five Guys, right?
Yes, sir.
So McDonald's is efficiency, right? You're hungry, get in and get out. It'll get the job done. But it's not necessarily something you want to eat every day. Right. And then you got Five Guys. You go to Five Guys, you're like, damn, it's a good ass burger. You know, like it's like
there's some real meat in here.
There's some real meat in here. You're like, you're gonna enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? So some people, you just got different preferences, you know?
That's so true. I love this new trend going on with like the geek to chic in the chair. Oh yeah. And I've seen you've made a few videos that way too. Like they come in looking, you know, regular schmegular, and then they come out looking like Stefan. Like, yeah. How does that feel being a barber on that end of that, you know, before and after?
I feel, man, some of these clients be coming in looking crazy. Yeah. Sometimes we put a little extra on, give them some glasses and stuff like that. But like, you know, it is our job to like help them like feel, you know, confidence.
Enhance their inner
Yeah. So like, you know, I kind of like capitalize off that too. Like, you know, we're selling an experience. We're not just selling a haircut, you know? it's like, well, I always try to capture the emotion after what happens. Because like when I see them smile or they look confident, I tell them like, oh man, I hype them up. I give them the mirror. I'm like, oh man, you going to Target after this? Where you going? Like, you know, like, you know, and they love that feeling, you know? So, you know, people, you know, any barbers out there listening to this, you know, you got to sell that, the after, you know, you got to sell
you got to hype them up.
You got to hype them up, make them feel good, you know, make them like, you know, the experience, the smile, like, you know, he's trying not to smile in that chair. He knows he looks good now. He got a new haircut. So
for sure,
you know, you got to give him that experience.
Definitely. So. Do you anticipate on adding any more services that you currently have going on?
Yeah, actually, I'm actually focused on this new coaching journey I'm on right now.
Ooh, coaching.
Yeah, so I'm doing barber coaching.
Okay.
The barber coaching is for entrepreneurs, barbers, stylists that do want to grow their social media presence and just have success, you know, like, and I was one, and she knows too that I was one of those people. I was kind of like, I've always believed that you need some type of like coaching to get to the next level. You know what I'm saying? So whenever somebody is in a position that you want to get to, whether that be a fitness, you know, anything, you know, there's somebody that's always above you.
Of course.
So you gotta reach out to them and ask them, yo, how did I get to you? How do you get to that level?
Can't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, you can't be afraid.
Those mouths don't get fed.
No, exactly. Like you're gonna be sitting here trying to figure out something that this guy, you know, he has the answers to. So that's what you gotta do.
Okay. And in your coaching, are you going to coach people on how to stay up to date with like the trends? Like, how do you personally stay up to date?
So how do I stay up to date? Because it's a business at the end of the day. So with barbering, it's a huge business, and people market their businesses wrong. So everybody does the same thing.
Yeah.
Everybody just posts pictures on their Instagram. Like, oh, I think, you know, this haircut looks good. But it's like, really, is that going to sell? How can I get the average person who's not a barber to watch this video all the way through? And then they're going to stay on your algorithm now. So now what ends up happening is I got to get them to watch the whole video, make it entertaining enough to watch, right? And then now once they watch a couple of my videos, I'm on their For You page. Yeah. So I'm their first thought when they come through. Yeah. So, you know, compared to...
It really is a game.
It is a game, yeah.
Like this whole season I've been experimenting with how to push out my podcast. Because you, as a barber, you have the visual aspect. Because a lot of people are banking on that before and after. They love it. They want to see it. Versus me, where I'm just talking, it's like, okay, one, if it's my face, are they attracted to me? Are my boobs out? Because let's say I'm a woman, like, you know, it's like, oh, what is she talking about? Oh, and then also that 10-second. And nowadays, social media is so quick, you have to like jump at it fast. Definitely. So I definitely understand the marketing aspect and keeping it engaging. And Instagram be trying it too. Like when you're posting and promoting and pushing, and then you're falling behind the algorithm of the big corporations. So it's a lot to push through. How would you say to aspiring barbers just starting out, what certain steps should they take if they want to really expand on their brand?
Expand on their brand. So listen, so what barbers should do, what any barber should do, or stylist that wants to expand on their brand, is they need to find somebody that's done it before, right? That's number one. Yes. Right? And then here's the thing with social media too. If it works for them, it might work for you. So let's say there's a video out there with 1 million views, right? The cover photo, right? Has 1 million views on that video. So just because they got 1 million views and you try the exact same cover and just remix it a little bit, you should at least get 230,000 or 100,000 or 10,000. You know, you should get something like that. And then once you get your Instagram going, that's when people start to like, they start to click. You know, obviously, you know, they'll start to go through and watch your other stuff. Yeah. Once they find you, they go, oh, okay, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. Then you're in the back of their mind, you know? Yeah. So when I think about you now, I think about a podcast, you know? Even though I know you now, you know, like I know you, I've known you like a good chunk of my life, but now when I think of Valerie, I'm like, I think about a podcast. I don't think about like us going to school together. I'm like, oh, she's got a dope ass podcast. So, you know, that's...
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's the idea we're trying to put in their heads.
Yeah, putting the branding. Okay,
yeah, social media is just, it's a game, you know? Yeah. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, you know? Like it's just, but you always have to stay... I tell people post every day. Post one thing every day. You know, I try to. Sometimes I'll go 2-3 days, you know, and then don't compare yourself with anybody else. Right. But look at the trends, right? See what's going on. See how I can make this fit with what I got going on, and then just do the same thing.
And it sounds like you're basically saying you can't be fearless. Like you have to be fearless.
You have to be fearless. Like, you know, like one of these things I always tell myself too is, you know, I'm spiritual and I believe that, you know, God's real. So I believe that I don't want to die. I've fought MMA. I've been to the Army. I've done a lot of different things in life. I've I've had a lot of setbacks too. Yeah. And I've always had like these things like the what if, like what if I never tried that, you know? Yeah. So I've done it. I fought in a cage before. I don't like being punched in the face nonstop. So hey, I did it though.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to be a barber. Imagine if I didn't do this and I worked in corporate America the whole time and I'd be miserable.
Yeah.
And I'd be thinking, man, I'm kind of good at cutting hair. And this is probably, you know, this is for me.
Right. You never know what your purpose is.
Exactly. You know, it could be anything. You know, some people are the best garbage man on earth. You know, like you can't knock somebody's hustle. If that's what they're good at, that's what they're good at. You know,
period. All right, guys. Perfect. Thank you for that sentiment. So I'm sure you're familiar with pit stop questions where we take a break and we ask you a few random questions. Yeah. Nothing too crazy, just a little spicy, a little picante.
Okay.
So I'm calling this WWJD. What would Jesse do?
Okay.
So what would Jesse do? You have a client who walks in.
Okay.
Straight off the street.
Okay.
Full head of hair, and say it's female client. She walks in, you know, full hair, and she says, I want my hair cut off, Britney Spears style, shaved off. I want styles. Here's a picture. Just put me in the chair and do it.
Okay.
What do you do?
So first, you know, you always got to confirm that answer. Like, see a picture? I need to see a picture. Mm-hmm. Are you sure? Always ask, are you sure that's what you want to do? I asked like 2-3 times. I've had people in my chair that wanted to cut off their locks one time.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you sure that's really what you want to do, bro? Like, why don't we just I try to change it up a little bit. Like, instead of just shaving it bald, why don't we just kind of leave like a little on top? Okay. You know, and then we'll just go from there. So I kind of try to as we're an image consultant, that's the thing. It's like you have a barber and an image consultant. I'm not a barber. I'm an image consultant. So I'm trying to help you make the best version of yourself.
Got you.
So if you're going through some life stuff and you just want to shave it off, I'm like, all right, cool. I could do that, but I'm going to try to recommend something different. So.
Right. Now, is that a chance where you just stop and try to evaluate the mental health? Are we having a breakdown?
Yeah,
What's going on?
Sometimes, yeah. I had a guy the other day, he had full dreads and he's just just chop them off. I'm like, is everything all right, bro? What's going on?
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to do that. You got to just try to figure them out first. Are you okay? You got anything going on, you know? So.
All right. So part 2 to that question.
Mm-hmm.
So now that same girl who sat in the chair and just had some random haircut has a huge, fake, ugly design on the back of her head.
Okay.
And comes to you to fix it. What do you do? I have a reference picture for you.
Let me see this. Oh.
I do. She is me.
That's you?
Yes.
Oh, man.
The back of my head looked like a Haitian flag. I put up the duo so you can see it.
Oh, man, bro.
So, story time, y'all. January 2022, I just got out of a previous relationship. I was feeling myself. That's when I cut my hair before. But our mutual friend, he cut it down for me, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to a barber. Walks down the street, random barber, never researched him. And I'm like, oh, I like convenience. That chair's empty. Let me walk in. The barbershop's kind of dusty. It's not really, because that's also, I think that's a big thing too. When you go to a barbershop, if it's dirty, and any hairstyle, if it's dirty, I'm like, oh no, your hair's about to be dirty.
Definitely.
But I was like, I'm going to sit in the chair. And mind you, my best friend's with me like, hey, Val, are you sure? I'm like, no, I'm good. Taurus, stubborn as fuck. I'm like, I'm on high. I'm like, I'm going to do it. And then I was like, I saw a lotus. That was supposed to be a lotus flower. And the reference picture was a white woman who has a whole different texture hair. Because I think as women of color, and even people of color, when you have different texture hair, you need to have a barber who can cut different types of texture.
Of course.
You know, same thing with your story. He was leaving patches. I'm sure that I'm assuming he was a white man cutting your hair and didn't know how to, switch up the clips and get the curls.
Definitely.
You know? And I kind of walked in there. I gave him a picture, and that barber, he's like, okay, I can do it. And I believed in him. Right?
Oh man.
And I saw the back and I was just like, oh. And I didn't want to hurt his feelings. Because I feel like a lot of clients may not like their stuff, but they're just like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm like, here's the money. And I tipped him too, because I was just like, oh God.
Yeah.
So I kind of wore beanies and hats until the back of my head grew back so I could shave it back.
Yeah.
But how would you fix that situation if I sat in your chair?
You want me to fix that?
Yeah, the Haitian flag.
I would be hey, there's only one way to fix this. I would have, you gotta get a fade.
Oh Lord, that fade up. The Haitian 101.
Yeah, you gotta have to get that fade, that mid fade, high fade, because you gotta get rid of that.
Oh my gosh.
I would say, just for anybody listening out there, okay, so if you go to a barbershop, there's booking apps now. There's ways to find people that can cut your style of hair. If you go to a barbershop and somebody's not busy, that's not always a bad thing. That could be a good thing. But if you see other people in the shop and one dude's like, oh yeah, I'll take you as a walk-in, or he's you kind of got to be aware of certain, okay, is he newer or what's going on,
Gotcha.
Or did he just finish cutting somebody up? You have to you got to figure it out, because sometimes the newer guys aren't as busy as like this experienced seasons guys, you know? So
because everybody's in their
they're
chair.
going to take everything. They're going to take, you know, even me. I used to do haircuts I couldn't even do. Yeah. Textured fringe. Like I was cutting like downtown Chicago. I was doing like straight Wall Street haircuts. Like, you know, like, oh yeah, for sure. I got it. And like, you know, like I wasn't botching them, but it was pretty close, you know? Like,
I mean, hey, everyone has a learning curve.
Yeah, exactly. So.
All right, WWJD, what Jesse gonna do?
What would Jesse do?
All right, you have a client walk in, has extreme psoriasis of the scalp. Yeah. Never been to a barber before. Their hair is long, they're cutting it down. How do you approach a particular client with medical conditions like that? Medical
conditions, so there is certain things we're supposed to stay away from in general. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we don't want to, anytime there's any type of thing on the scalp, face, neck, hair, anything like that, we don't want to make that extreme. So a good barber what I would do, I'd be like, hey, look, you know, you have a patch of hair here, or you have psoriasis. I don't think we should take it down that low. You know, like sometimes you have to be aware of that type of stuff. So, you know, but that's what I would do. I would just kind of be like, hey, man, I don't think that's a good move.
Right. We don't think we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I'm not sure if you had a client with psoriasis before that you've posted. Yeah. You had someone recent. I wasn't sure if it was psoriasis or dandruff. But I saw it was dandruff. And what's the difference between that?
So dandruff is like, it's a natural condition. Psoriasis is kind of something that's like underlying. That's like just
on the skin.
On the skin. And, you know, psoriasis leaves like scaly, patchy, you know, kind of things. But dandruff is like just like it's natural too, but it can be the shampoo that's throwing off your hair.
I see.
It can be too harsh, or you just don't, you know, you don't use conditioner after you shampoo.
Right.
So, you know, I
don't you really take the moment to educate, be like, hey, you're using this, maybe you should switch.
Yeah, like, hey, like, you know, if I see like a lot of dandruff, I'm like, hey man, like what kind of shampoo do you use? All right, cool. Like use conditioner? Yeah. What kind of shampoo? Head and Shoulders? Oh, right. Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, it's little stuff like that.
All right. Last WWJD question.
Okay.
So you have 3-4 of your loyal clients coming in for the day. Say, what does a full schedule look like for you? Like 8 clients? 6? I don't know.
8 to 10, yeah.
8 to 10. So you have 8 to 10 of your loyal, always pay on time, always pay what you ask, plus more clients coming in, right?
Yeah.
Full day. Then you have a call of a celebrity. High-end profile celebrity who wants a haircut, but says, hey, listen, I don't want people seeing my face. You need to shut it down, cancel everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Uh-huh. Now, say that haircut you going to charge them maybe is like $1,000 maybe. Yeah. But yet your 8 clients would have been like, you know, so 4,000. So what's good? What have you done?
So I've done that. I've done that. And I realize, like, here's the thing. The locals pay your bills.
Yeah.
The locals always pay your bills. You can be a celebrity barber. I've done it. I've cut Hebrew Brandley. I've cut up Ebony Magazine. I've cut up, you know, all these different types of people, even Chicago Bears players, everything. And the thing is like they expect, you know, you to like drop everything.
Right.
And, you know, do that. You know, a good celebrity clientele is going to be like, man, I know you got something going on. Can you squeeze me in at some point today?
Right.
I don't really think I would do that. I don't, you know, like I really appreciate the people I cut. Like, from, you know, you know, it's like, you know, if they want to hop in my chair, I'm like, yo, I can get you at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, or we can work something out on Sunday or a different day. I'm not going to just, these people got regular jobs and like, you know, they come see me loyal. Like, what do I look like? Just being like, oh yeah.
I love that. So
yeah.
You remember where you came from.
Yeah, I remember, bro. I definitely remember where I came from. That's a big thing.
Gotcha.
So,
speaking of where you came from.
Yeah.
So you're from Chicago. Did not know you were from Chicago.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Chicago. My mom, like I said, my mom moved to Jersey. She with her best friend, and that was a whole thing. And my mom basically is just, she's trying to figure out life at that time. So that's how we found our way to West Palm Beach, you know? Yeah, we do. I was
supposed to be born in Brooklyn.
Oh, you're supposed to be born in Brooklyn?
Yeah, my mom lived here and then she couldn't take the cold. And that's when Brooklyn was wild, so she moved down.
My mom too.
I don't know what it is. Yeah. What's your racial background, by the way?
So I'm mixed.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, my mom's black and my dad, I don't really get into that.
Yeah. You know, I thought you was Dominican my whole life.
Yeah, everybody does, you know. But
Jesse, you a brother?
Yeah, I am.
And you know what's crazy? I'm looking at you and I'm like, yeah, Jesse's Spanish. His whole last name is Robinson.
Yeah.
That is a black name.
Yeah. So it's like, it's the thing is like, so my mom, like I come from, my family's from the South, from Mississippi.
Gotcha.
And, you know, I have roots in South Carolina, the whole nine. And basically what happened was my grandma and her sisters and everything, they came from New York too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they moved to Chicago.
You have all this like up north hustle in your energy, in your spirit. Because I do feel like people born outside of Florida, that slow life, you just naturally are like a go-getter.
Oh, yeah,
have to be.
Definitely. But, you know, at the same time, my mom didn't like the weather in Chicago and all the whole nine. And I have to always check people on that too, because they'd be forgetting I'm black. And I'm like even the last barbershop I worked in, I'm like, yo, my mom is actually black, bro. Like, and they'd be like, what you mean?
Yeah.
Like, my sister's Nigerian.
Yeah.
You know, like, people don't know that. Like, they just just assume. Like, of course, you see me, you assume. You assume you make an ass out of you and me. So yeah. But like, you know, I do. You know, my kids are Puerto Rican. You know, like I still embrace that side too. Yeah. But like, at the end of the day, that's where I come from. You know, like
within your different racial clientele, do you notice a difference in like customs? Do they have different things that they worry about when they're being seen by a barber?
So when they first saw me, when I first started cutting hair, like, you know, a lot of my clientele are black folks, and I do cut up Hispanics. I cut up everybody. I don't really discriminate. I don't discriminate nothing. But you know, a lot of the people I do cut up are black. And when they first saw me, you cut my hair? I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, what you mean? Like, I cut your hair. So you see my hair, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you know. So I'd have to get into that. But different customs. So like, you know, you cut African dudes, you know, sometimes, or any, you know, no offense, I'm not trying to get into racial.
Of course. You know, here at the Passenger Seat Parlay, you know, we're not afraid to talk about our blackness.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we're talking south side of Chicago, right? So you have different types of people. So it's like you have west side Chicago is like be the equivalent of what? Kind of like Brooklyn. And then you have the south side would be like the South Bronx, right? So it's like two different types of people, two different walks of life. Got to approach it a little different. You know what I'm saying? So even what they're used to is different too. So like they're not used to people looking like me cutting their hair. So they're like, when I do it, they're like, oh man, where you from? They try to ask me all these different questions and stuff. But
they like them botanical services.
They love that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. They love the steamer, the facial. You know, so
get pampered. Are you still waxing, by the way?
No, hell no.
Oh, I remember your waxing era.
I messed my guy up one time real bad. Shout out Gio. That was my first client.
Aww.
Yeah, I put a wax, like a hot wax in his nose, and I didn't know what I was doing.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I put it in there, and I guess I missed it.
Oh,
and we were sitting there for like 30 minutes trying to get that wax out of his nose, and he was crying, and I was like,
Gio.
Yeah, Gio, man. Shout out
Free
Gio,
haircuts for life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's still my guy, man.
Hey, I appreciate that. All right. So I'm going to ask you one last WWJD question. It's more so closer to a pit stop.
Okay.
So if you weren't the successful barber that you are now, what would you be doing?
What would I be doing? I'd probably be a cop.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably be a cop. And, you know, I'd probably be working with her a little bit more.
Yeah.
You would still be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I'd still be an entrepreneur. Yeah, I'd still be an entrepreneur.
That's what I was thinking in my head, but I'm like, what else? Like, I mean, honestly, the way you move and how you think, I won't be surprised. Like, we're in our 30s right now. 40s a whole different era.
Oh,
you can have like a whole different...
I'm always thinking about something new.
Right.
You know? We were just talking about it today. Like, should we open up a restaurant? Should we do something? You know, like, we were just talking about
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get into our episode with Mel, too, so we can go into your joint ventures together.
Mel. This is...
Money Mel!
Griselda Blanco right here.
Okay.
I'm telling you. Yeah, so...
Well, I want to thank you for coming on the parlay.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate this for sure.
But before I sign off, is there anything you want to put out into the universe to speak life into, you know, the people?
I've been thinking about this for the past couple months. I've been thinking about this, and you know who I'm about to say already. So I didn't get into this how I started cutting hair. Gerrol Vereen, my brother. We used to be broke kids, you know, like we used to use the clip. He used to cut my hair, and that's how I kind of got into it. And I'm trying not to choke up thinking about this dude, man. But like, you know, that was my brother, and shout out to Gerrol because I wouldn't be here without him, bro.
Amen.
So, you know.
G Money.
Yeah.
He was just that guy. He was just like such a friendly, nice guy. When I say I put him on a pedestal, like, bro, he's just such a good guy, like all in all. And he's definitely. Sorry, now I'm getting jumped out.
Yeah,
in the
both
feelings.
I
was like, all right. But G Money, shout out to G Money. And he was the first person to encourage my fake rapping career. Shout out to him. Yeah. He used to let me rap in his car to instrumentals.
Oh yeah. Gerrol was the man, bro.
Yeah,
he was like him, Gerrol, his brother Don.
Yeah, for sure.
I got a crazy story I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna leave you with this before we get done with this.
Oh, for sure.
This is one of my best stories in life. I told her about this. So
yeah.
You already talked to Don already?
Yeah, I talk to him often.
Have you got him on the podcast yet?
No. Don say he ain't coming on the parlay until I have 100 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Then I'm worthy of his presence.
Okay. Well, I want you to ask Don about Uncle Willie. Whenever you get a chance to remember this question.
Yeah.
I'm going to just tell you a brief story about Uncle Willie.
Okay.
One time, I'm going to knock on Don and Gerald's door. We live right next door to each other, like a couple blocks down. I knock on the door, and I'm like, I hear Uncle Willie. You ever heard of Uncle Willie?
No.
So Uncle Willie might have been on some substances that, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, he was the mom's brother, right? So I hear him freaking out, throwing stuff in the house. Where's my bus ticket? Where's my bus ticket? Right? Like, look, going crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I knock on the door. I'm like, yo, he opens the door, shirt off, swole as hell, angry, hair all crazy, foaming at the mouth. I'm like, what the fuck? So then Gerrol comes out. He's like, yeah, Jesse, come inside. I'm like, all right, cool. I go inside. And Don's like, hey, Uncle Willie better chill out before I tell my mama. And so I'm like, what's going on? So they close the door. You know, Don's making music and everything. And I'm, you know, happy to be over there just talking to him. So every couple minutes, Uncle Willie opens up the door. Where the fuck's my bus ticket? You know what I'm saying? Like going crazy, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, Gerrol gets the bright idea to be like, hey, Uncle Willie, hey, Jesse got your bus ticket.
I knew it.
Bro. I'm sitting there in the room, right? Sitting down. Uncle Willie kicks the door open. Where the fuck my bus ticket? Like in my face, like just screaming at me at the top of his lungs.
Oh
like,
my God.
I'm like, I don't got your bus ticket, man. He's like,
dude.
And he's like smacking his fist in front of my face. And then Gerald's like, no, he don't got your bus ticket. I'm like, man, bro. Ask him about that story, though.
That's crazy. I bet you that moment prepared you for all your POs yelling in your face.
Oh, definitely.
Were they worse than Uncle Willie?
Nah.
All right, there you go. Look at God preparing you for life.
Yeah. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the parlay. Y'all got to come back again for sure.
Oh, yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Yeah, because we could get into it. But thank you guys for listening. Passenger Seat Parlay.
So shout out Undeniable Barber. That's my new coaching business. I am actually helping barbers become the best versions of themselves. I am, always available for help. If any barber out there, stylist needs help promoting their Instagram, definitely shoot a message to me and I'll help you.
And where can they reach you?
On Instagram, Rob Cut It IG, and then Rob Cut It on TikTok too. So
hey, TikTok.
Yep.
TikTok till you don't stop.
Yep.
All right, bye y'all. We're gonna see you next week. Bye.
Have a good one.